Kenyan authorities have launched a military operation into Somalia to hunt down members of the al-Qaida-linked Islamic group. Kenyan troops are reported to be near the al-Shabaab-controlled town of Afmado in Somalia's Juba region, where residents are said to have been fleeing in fear of a battle. Excuse me. Officials and witnesses also say Kenyan military forces, including helicopters, are advancing towards Somalia's Gedo region. For more perspective on the situation in Somalia, Professor Abdi Samatar of the University of Minnesota joins us on the phone from Minneapolis. Professor Samatar, welcome to In Focus.
Vincent, it's a pleasure to be with you.
Now, you recently returned from Somalia. First, I want you to give us a very brief assessment of the prevailing situation there in terms of the famine and also security.
The famine situation, although it has gone off the sort of front page of the papers and television, is still as severe as you can imagine. The estimates are that anywhere up to 300,000 people, primarily children, might perish in the next couple of months unless food and medicine and water is gotten to them. So that's the circumstances. When I was in Mogadishu, I saw many camps by these sort of famine-displaced refugees who were struggling with everyday life. And Mogadishu seems to have at least 100,000 people of that kind in the last couple of months. Mm-hmm. And so it's quite grim on that situation, although the intervention of the Turkish government to provide support and resources all the way to Kismayo has proven to be quite efficient. On the security front, and although al-Shabaab has moved out of Mogadishu, some of them have been kicked out by the African Union force, I feel they can get into Mogadishu at any time and hit any place at will, and that actually happened while I was there when they bombed the students' place in which they killed about 70 people.
Now, for quite a while, it's been said that the TFG, in fact, controls just a few blocks of Mogadishu. Realistically, how much control does the TFG have over Somalia?
My sense is that if the African Union force was not there, there would be nothing called the transitional federal government. That's how vulnerable it is. It has not been able to create the kind of a Somali-owned military security forces that are professional, that the public can rely on. And so, yes, the city of Mogadishu is now out of the hands of al-Shabaab, and you can see sort of camps of African Union forces in different locations. But there's no security for the ordinary person, and that's why al-Shabaab was able to get in there and bomb that location a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Now, Professor, the Kenyan military has launched an offensive against the al-Shabaab in central and southern Somalia. What is your take on what all this means?
I think it's very important first to sort of note that I have not seen a Somali person in the country or elsewhere who's enamored with Shabaab and who doesn't hold their nose about al-Shabaab. Shabaab is a losing proposition. It's a spent force, I think. But the question is, they are there in large measure because there is no transitional government force that can secure the country. But if you go back to the Kenya question, I think the Kenya government has every right to protect its citizens and its country. But we also need to know the context in which their operations is taking place. Kenya has been supporting and establishing a buffer zone called Azania, in which forces that are opposed to al-Shabaab have been operating. So this is not new to the Kenyan government, and they have been involved in the local politics of the region for quite some time. And I'm sure al-Shabaab is engaged in a tit-for-tat with the Kenyan government, I think.
All right. Thank you very much, Professor. We hope to come back to you for further insights in the near future. That's Professor Abdi Samatar of the University of Minnesota.